Goodreads, it's been nice knowing you, but this is goodbye. In 2022, I started a long journey into deciding if I wanted to ditch Goodreads as a platform or just suck it up and keep it. I talked about the comparisons, set up the Storygraph as an alternative, asked if we could trust it, and did a year-long experiment using both platforms at the same time. 5 months later, and I've finally made a decision. Goodreads, you and I are breaking up. By the time you're watching this video, I have already broken up with Goodreads. In fact, it's been a couple months. But why? What's the big deal? Why make this kind of decision about a book tracking platform of all things? Well, my friend, let's chat. I first set up my Goodreads account back in 2014. Back then, Goodreads was, to me at least, this intimidating place where I could gradually build the books I'd been reading and share with others. I joined because I hoped it would be the encouragement I needed to get back into reading after having the biggest reading slump of my life after university. I'm talking 5 years by this point. Amazon bought Goodreads in 2013, so I joined just after Amazon took over. I honestly didn't even know it existed before this point in time. And since then, Goodreads hasn't really changed. Sure, it's had some very slight design tweaks here and there, but honestly, it looks so similar to what it used to look like when I first joined. I didn't start off using Goodreads super regularly after joining. After all, I wasn't really reading all that much. I just added the books I could think of reading in my lifetime in one fell swoop, and then I kind of stopped using it. Until I finally got my reading mojo back in 2018 and I started reading regularly again. In 2021, however, was the year my Goodreads use really kicked in and I was on the platform probably like every other day. At this time, and honestly up to 2022, I didn't really think about the business behind Goodreads, the negative aspects of it. I didn't think about seeking out alternatives at all. So what changed? In late 2021, I started to see YouTube videos, social media posts, and articles about the negative aspects of Goodreads. It was almost like they were everywhere. These pieces of content were created to not only shine some light on Goodreads, but to also promote something that had just launched, the Storygraph. Without the Storygraph as a solid alternative, I'm not sure any of this would have ever happened, but that's beside the point. It took me a long time to think about making any kind of switch to something like the Storygraph. I mean, it took me a long time to even look at the Storygraph and see what it was all about, let alone switch to it. Sometimes when you've used and experienced something for 10 years, like I did with Goodreads, switching away from that thing is just, well, it takes time and willpower to do it. Maybe not even willpower. Maybe just time to uncondition yourself, you know? Anyway, at the time, I wasn't too bothered by the fact that Goodreads didn't have any updates. After all, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But as the years ticked by, I started to think more about Amazon and its hold on, well, everything. More information was being shared about business practices, worker conditions, and environmental standards, and I didn't like any of the information that I was reading, at all. The platform started having issues with review bombing and fake reviews. I did videos on ebook prices and found their influence there too. Then finally, I decided to properly set up the Storygraph account and experiment with both platforms at the same time. But even after all this, even with the knowledge I had about Amazon, knowing the Storygraph was a more enjoyable platform, although it's not perfect, still I could not bring myself to ditch Goodreads. Until now. So what did it take? What finally made me make the decision? It was, honestly, Amazon rolling back their DEI initiatives. I talked about this and other reasons why people are boycotting Amazon in a separate video. But by this point, right now, there is no good reason to keep using Goodreads, at least for me. There are too many reasons to stop using it, if anything. You could say that I should have stopped using Goodreads years ago, and honestly, you'd probably be right. But sometimes it's more difficult than you realize to actually make the change. It's human nature to cling on to something that feels familiar. So let's get something straight before I stick my foot in it. What does this actually mean? Okay, I can say I'm saying goodbye to Goodreads, but what do I mean by that in a practical sense? I am no longer using Goodreads. I'm not posting reviews, I'm not updating the books I've read, I'm not accepting friend requests, and I'm not looking at notifications. I'm not using it. All of those things are going to be replaced by using the story graph. The one thing I am doing though is keeping my profile, and there is only one reason for this. I am hoping to publish a book one day, and I know that I will need a profile on Goodreads when that day comes. I may not need all my books, reviews, and shelves, but I will need some kind of profile. So until I find out what that means and what that looks like, it is staying. You can see on my profile, it says when I was last active, and if that changes, it's because I've misclicked something or I've gone in to clean things up. After all, I still have what I was currently reading in February 2025, so that seems silly to leave there. I'll probably clean that up at some point, but that's it. As you can see, I'm currently using the story graph and I'll continue to do so. I'll post my read books, my reviews, I'll search for books I might want to read there. It will be my primary platform, unless another platform pops up that happens to suit me more. I feel happy that I finally made this decision, even if it took me a while to get there. Are you thinking of ditching Goodreads, or maybe you already have, or are you happy with the platform as it stands? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.